We're learning new information tonight about the proposal to bring a massive development to the Southbank.
Last night, we first told you about the Jacksonville City Council and its vote to approve $82 million in incentives to make that development a reality. That package includes $26 million from the city to build the infrastructure and a $56 million property tax rebate. First Coast News reporter Nick Perreault joins us live tonight from the Southbank.
And Nick, there are some big plans in place for this project even before the first shovels actually hit the dirt.
Well, Heather, that's right. We're talking about anything from additional space for kayaking, boardwalks, as well as parks in the area. Now, it may seem like a long way away. Plans still put this in place in 2022, but I talked to a local business owner that says this investment should be viewed as an opportunity. While others might look at this and just see water, Boo White sees opportunity.
We've been really good at restoring buildings in areas that have not yet come back.
That type of thinking landed him and his SC home furniture store here off West Adams Street, as he describes in his grand opening video.
The obvious place is
the store is in an area that does not have much development around it, but White sees past present conditions.
Plant a flag in Jacksonville where there isn't a lot of stores like this. To me, an incredible opportunity.
White says he could be expanding one day, so he supports the idea of a multi-million-dollar project in a place that others might think of as just an open field. Tuesday's City Council decision moves plans forward that include adding nearly 1,000 residential units, 200,000 square feet of office space, and another 100,000 square feet of retail space. The LLC, Elements of Jacksonville, still has to close on the purchase of the land across from the Duval County School District offices by July 18th for the project to continue forward. It's land that is currently owned by JEA. These are just the next steps before ideas like adding 3 riverfront parks, a boardwalk, and kayak launch can turn into an opportunity like White's furniture store. And back out here live again, it will take some time before you see some actual shovels in the ground here begin work, with a completion date estimated in 2022. May seem a long ways away, but again, good opportunity and investment nearing $280 million. We're live tonight on the Southbank. Nick Perreault, First Coast News on your side.
Nick, thank you. Now, that section of the Southbank is not just attracting developers. The city is moving to buy out homeowners in that area. Severe flooding caused by Hurricane Irma lasted for weeks there. The city targeted about 70 at-risk properties, looking to buy them up for a total cost of almost $10 million. Local and federal representatives say buying these properties actually saves FEMA relief money in the long run. Now, even as far back as last November, some homeowners targeted by the buyouts said that the proposed development could wind up sending even more water into the neighborhood if it was to flood in the future.